Hey guys, this is Sage, and today I'm going to show y'all how to draw this. So, the first thing you're going to need to do is you find your reference picture, and this is the reference picture in question. So, you keep that in front of you so that while you draw, you can clearly see what you're supposed to be drawing. Now, what I'm going to do here is this reference picture. I'm going to click here. I'm going to add an extra layer just in case I need to erase something. And I'm going to change the settings to a solid pen and make it a really bright color. Right? This is going to be the color where we look at the facial and we do the lines and the sketch lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to look here. Oh, wait. Remember, increase the thickness. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle, right? Something kind of like this. And what you do is whatever you draw on here, you draw on the paper. So we drew a circle here. Now I'm going to take my pencil set, grab a pencil, and I'm going to draw something similar to a circle on here as well. Right? And now it's kind of for this first part, it's back and forth from whatever digital source you're using and the physical source. Now, if you don't have a digital source to do this, then another way you could do it is just use print it out. Or there are probably tutorials on YouTube where you can figure out the sketches from, or draw it in your head, but this is the easiest way. So then you draw this line here. And now again, you're gonna draw that, but if you have a hard time, it's easier to probably make multiple lines. So maybe for this one, I decide that, hey, let's do 2 lines and then a third one, kind of like this. And you'll see oh, how does this work? What's the trajectory, blah, 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 so that it's easier to draw the line. It should look kind of like this. No, I don't really have a good eraser with me right now, so I'm just using this small eraser for now. But if you do have a good eraser with you, probably keep that on hand because you're gonna need it. So yeah, you do this. Now that that's done, you go ahead you erase that random line because that's gonna create more issues for you. And we go back to the drawing board, and you see this little bun here. We're gonna circle that. And you see how this little spot intersects? That's also important. So we're gonna do that. Now, as you can see, it's not perfect. If it's really that bad, then you can definitely rearrange it or make it bigger, smaller, however you need to, do that. And voila, it should look something like this. I'm gonna make it more oval shaped to make it look like the way I want it to. And this is how it's gonna look so far. Now, once you've gotten to this point, we get our trusty digital tool again. And what we do is, again, we notice this little, any extra like areas, like this spot of hair, and we add that into like an extra remembering thing. And then we can look at that and then do the same thing here. And again, we bring that thing back and we make a little bit more drastic move here, which should look kind of like this. Now, this would be pretty hard to do immediately. So we also like probably line the ears like that and then decide to do it. So let's quickly line over the ears. Now the face is probably gonna go a little bit like this. So assuming that, the ear is probably gonna go somewhere like this. Now this one's gonna be this one's gonna look way more wrong because of the way I'm doing it and how I don't really have much comfort in recording this, as like my phone is just right up where my face is, hence I have a harder time. But basically you do this, and now that this is the ear, we go here, we bring the hairline, we bring it right across the ear and right up into your hair. And basically, using these small lines, you can kind of like figure out where each thing goes. And now your art will definitely be a little bit more different than like the actual picture based on whatever experience you have. But like, with the way I'm doing it and a bit of practice, it should wind up just about the same. Now, for the neck, what we're gonna do is, you see the ear here? I'm just gonna look at this shadow and build a straight line from there to here. And then we're gonna look at where like this happened and go build a straight line. Okay? Now, same thing goes for the hair over here. You see how it kind of like goes like this? Now, if by any chance you see that, oh wait, I got this line wrong, the good part about these precision erasers is that they'll only erase the part that you like want to erase, and you're not gonna have to overline any like random extra part. But yeah, now that the neck is done, you go here. Wait, oh my god, there's so much hair over here. Oh wait. And you do this, and you make this and this line, which is again kind of like, you mimic what you did on the iPad or on the like other piece of paper onto here. Now the body part is done. Now you're gonna need to do like the face, oh, not the face, the shirt. So what you do is, you see this? This is not the cloth, this is still like the outline of the skin. So you extend that part like that. And then look at the curve. If the curve isn't matching the one in the picture, you probably did it wrong. And since this is such like an important part of the drawing, especially when it comes for like the shirt, you need to get this as close as possible so that you don't have to like improvise with the shirt like I did in my original drawing. Now from that, again, you take the iPad or like whatever you're using to look at the sketches. And you make this. Now if you want to, again, you see how this kind of like formulates straight up with the line? You kind of like use that as your like guideline. So that you kind of get the proportions more right. Especially if you're like drawing on different levels or different sizes. This would be important because then you kind of like know where everything is. Because I'm drawing this much smaller than the picture is showing right now. So, yeah. And now that that's done, you erase whatever random guidelines you made. I'm gonna put the pencils on the side. You take your eraser, erase any random guidelines that you did. And now is the point where you're gonna erase everything that isn't like everything that isn't an actual outline of the drawing. So you'd probably erase this part. You would erase this section. You'd also erase this random part of the ear. You'd erase this. Now you could like reinforce the lines that are actually like outlines and stuff. You would also actually erase this, because in the drawing you see that there's a little bit of like a softer switch, so you kind of would try to mimic that like this. And like that you would do this. And what you're gonna do now is you're gonna erase this part of the hair, or like this guideline that's near the hair, because there's no point in keeping it unless the guidelines like directly matching up with something else that you want to do in your drawing. Just erase it. Now we haven't even looked into the hair yet, so before we move on to the shirt, let's take a quick sneak peek at the hair. So when you go up, you see these braids. You probably want to add them into your drawing, right? So now you take a little look here, and basically it's aligned with the hair, right? And it's just this little round thing. So now looking at that, what you do is you just recreate the same exact thing. if you're drawing this a little bit more stylized, or if you want to like make it look exactly the way you want it, you can probably change up like the exact proportions by just a bit, but just don't change it too much to the point where you can't like think that these two drawings are the really similar, or don't alter it to the point where you can't see that that this was the reference photo for this drawing. So yeah, now again we're gonna look at this, and it's a straight curve here, so we're gonna mimic that. Now we can see that it's just about here, and it's like a little curve, and then we can see that it goes completely straight. Now here I kind of messed it up by a little bit. Here I messed it up, so let me just quickly fix that. And voila. And now straight. Straight. Now last time I just improvised the clothing. I didn't do it exactly. This time I'm also not going to do it exactly, because the stripes, I would spend hours and hours just worrying about the placement of the stripes and how like it's knitted and stuff. So yeah, now we're gonna see this is another small line thing. This is kind of what it looks like, maybe a little bit more to the, yeah. This is just about what it looks like. Now what we're gonna do is that we're done with the sketch. This is like the final sketch form of it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our kneaded eraser. Now if you don't have a kneaded eraser, just take a normal eraser and erase it lightly so that you can still see part of like the old sketch thing that you did, but it's not completely like dark visible. But you just take this out, you take some out. Now mine is really stuck into the container because it's kneaded erasers, and I kind of needed to like pull on it really hard for it to come out, which is why it was so much more hard for me. But yeah, now you just roll it on over your drawing. Oh, this part always hurts my hand. And basically it's kind of like taking out all the graphite that's in here. Which is really nice. And yeah, so now I like keeping, once I like take this out, I'm gonna like wanna stick it here or like put it on whatever area separate. Just like stick it on here, so if I ever need it anytime mid drawing again, I can just be like, oop, let's take it out. So now that's that. Now that we're done with like the erasing part, and now it's like all super light, we won't need the tablet anymore other than to like reference the picture. So delete any form of sketching that you did over it. Hence I told you like try to get it on a separate layer or something. But yeah, now that that has been done, you just continue on with your like drawing using this as your reference. Like in the drawing, this person has braids, so you kind of like, you take the parts that are actually like meant to be outlined, and you outline them really strongly, and you add the detail. So like she had a bun, and then it had this kind of like shape to it, so I added that. Now we have to do her braids, and what I'm gonna do for her braids is I'm gonna make this part first, and then it's just kind of like these heart-shaped things. Because drawing braids is actually really easy. You just need to draw these like heart-shaped looking thingies, and then add like a line between them, and that should normally like work. But like, yeah, now that the braids are done and that this outlining is done, we kind of like start with the hair. Now for this part, I really don't want it to like end up becoming really like solid and the line being like straight up really dark and abrupt. I want it to look like natural hair, so I'm just going to add like these little strokes throughout just for this part. And yeah, now this is the point where when we like draw the rest of this, we need darker colors. So I'm gonna go straight in with a 8B. Camera focus, bro. Okay, yeah, it's not gonna focus. And what we do is I go right into the hair and I just start shading. That's exactly what I do. And I'm gonna just shade this part of hair really quickly to show y'all like how you're supposed to be doing this. You use the darkest color first, and you use it like wherever you think that there's gonna be a shadow, like this, and then you kind of like make the middle lighter. Now I'm gonna use a blend of my 8B and my HB pencil for this, so that it looks more natural. And voila, your hair is kind of like done for this. Now I'm gonna finish the rest of the hair, and then I'm gonna like show y'all how to shade in the braids and then the bun. So until then, see ya. So time skip, I finished the hair. Now you see these little dirt marks from my finger. Yeah, there's kind of like nothing we can do about that other than erase them at the end. But now let me just quickly show y'all how I would shade the braids. The braids are really small, so I think shading them with an HB pencil would be like enough. And you just kind of like you see these edges, like this part you have to shade, and then the absolutely top part you have to shade. And then there's you don't really have to do anything in between. No, this picture originally was in color. I just turned it into grayscale so that I had an easier time looking at the values and trying to figure out what I needed to do. Now I'm gonna take my EE pencil. This is just like if you can. I don't have any other pencils, so I'm gonna try to do it with the EE one. Yeah, no, this is not gonna work. But if you do have a darker pencil, that would be like a really neat idea. So just like, think about it. But now our braids are done. Now the important part is just finishing up the bun, and then we can move on to like the skin and stuff. So what you do is you make sure like this inner bun part is really dark, and you just start coloring everything. Now what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna soften up the edges by using this and just dabbing / rubbing / doing whatever on it. And by doing this, it's much lighter, so you can like do the really close like scale things. Now I'm gonna quickly show y'all how to do this, really. And it's just the same as this, but you have to like watch out for the curves. Like here the curve is going this way, but right over here it's gonna start going that way. And you just need to look out for that and you should be fine. So I'm gonna just do this little part. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna again take my lovely HB pencil. I'm gonna put that over right there. I'm gonna take my lovely HB pencil and I'm gonna just go lightly cruise over the rest of my like lines so that it kind of matches this hair. And voila. Now I'm gonna do this to the rest of this like hair, and yeah. So I finished the hair. Now we just have to do the skin. And for the skin, you will need a blender and your HB pencil. So what you're gonna do here is you look at like the picture, whatever reference picture you had. Now, if you're drawing the exact same thing as me, then you probably don't have the exact reference picture. So I'm just gonna tell y'all, this area is shaded up till the ear. So you just have to shade this part. This part is ever so slightly shaded. The other, like the rest of her face is kind of like here. This area is kind of slightly shaded. You would probably need to like kind of slightly shade the ear. And now Voila. Oh wait, the ear got butchered, bro. Let's just extend that thing a little bit longer. And now we're just gonna quickly blend this. I'm gonna finish the skin. But let me just show y'all this area for good measure. When you blend it, make sure it blends out evenly and nicely. Kind of like this. Now I'm going to quickly finish the rest of the skin and yeah, we'll be back. A bit of rendering later. This is what we get. Now if you don't want to draw the shirt, put your signature and then you'll be done. But if you want to draw the shirt for whatever reason, like me, this is what you would do. You would kind of like analyze where the light is coming from. And now I'm assuming the light is coming from this side, probably the top, because of the lighting on the face. Now taking that assumption, I will get my EB pencil or EE pencil and I will just go straight into it. Now once I blend it, I will like blend it really specifically. Now I'm doing a really simple shirt because I'm lazy when it comes to drawing clothing. But if you want to like draw, let's say, a specific type of shirt or clothing, you can. I'm just drawing a simple black shirt or like a simple gray shirt because that's just easier for me and it takes less of your time. So that's what I'm gonna do. And now you just blend it again. Now this time when I blend, I'm gonna blend from the lightest coloring to the darkest. So I'm gonna straight up just go in here and like shade in this part, and then I'm gonna slowly edge into like the darker side, and I'm gonna rotate my paper because it's easier for me when I rotate paper. So voila, the paper is rotated, and I'm kind of like shading into the really dark zone. And I'm just kind of like going in there and making sure that I've blended it really nice and smooth and, you know. And I'm gonna go over the shirt again. And now my shirt has a black collar. So I'm just chilling with that idea. I'm making these end sides much more darker now. that I know that like this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm going for. And they're just perfect. You can just like make it to look like this. Now this random pool of whatever, I just did it for fun. Sees? Now I'm gonna lighten it so that it doesn't look too off-putting. But basically, yeah, this is like the entire drawing in a nutshell. Now I'm just gonna add a bit of like lighting for this, and voila, it's done. Now I'm gonna add my lovely little signature. So here's my signature. I'm going to go ahead and quickly color, well, not color, like erase the edges. And once I'm done with erasing my edges, like these little dirt spots that came from my finger getting dirty, that's just the drawing. It's done. And voila, you have semi-realism probably. And yeah. Bye.